having me back on. I appreciate it. I guess anytime I have an opportunity to speak, I will take it gladly. For those that know me, I love to speak. As Dr. Wright said, thank you. I'm sorry. I am Kama with Kama Speaks, along with some other great things that I'm doing. I'm a realtor here in the beautiful, sunny Southern California. We have 84 degrees weather today. I'm trying to figure out why, because we are not in the summer yet. But I love where I am. I am a host of a talk show that I started online about 8 months ago called Pursuing Your Passion. And also I host events, and I'm a speaker, motivational speaker. I speak about real estate. I speak about understanding your passion. I've also started a networking group here in my city so that I can bring businesses together. So Dr. Wright and I are definitely on the same mind track when it comes to helping building other people's business. Today I'm going to speak to you about understanding your purpose. And as I speak to you, I want you to think about, what is your purpose? Why are you put here on earth? Now, some of you may think you know why, some of you may not know why, but hopefully by the end of this, you will be able to understand what your purpose is. Again, my name is Kama, and my name is spelled Kama, and my name means inner love and beauty. It is a Middle Eastern name from Sanskrit. You will not find this name too many places. I've actually ran across maybe 2 or 3 people with the same name, but I always wonder if it's the same person. They have the same ethnicity, not as me, but every time I run into this name, it's been about 3 times. I just wonder if it's the same person. Anyhow, I love my name, but a few years ago, I wanted to change my name. Actually, when I was about 18, I'm 36 now, so I guess it wasn't a few years ago. It was almost 18 years ago or longer. Oh my gosh, 18 years ago, my gosh. I wanted to change my name because as I was growing up, people used to make fun of my name. When they hear my name, which I'm sure some of you may have thought, Kama, what's Kama? What's a Kama? Well, I've heard it all. I heard the name, the song by Boy George, the Kama, chameleon. I've heard it. People say when I hear your name, am I supposed to pause? Well, maybe you should pause and think about who I am and what I do. So I absolutely love my name, but when I want to change it, change it to a common name, something that every other people had, because I just wanted to be common. But as I was preparing to change my name, the Lord spoke to me and said, no, I gave you that name for a reason, so you cannot change your name. And names began to come up like Oprah and Beyonce. These are names that stood out. These are people that have some kind of clout in what they do. People know them by their first name. So I decided to keep my name because there's greatness behind the name Kama. Growing up, I met a young man at the age of 14 that I was absolutely in love with, and he really meant a lot to me. He was the love of my life, and just like we are when we're young and in love, and sometimes we can be dumb, not all of us, but I was, so I can't speak for everybody else. There were some things that I didn't see. I was just so happy just to have a guy that told me he loved me and called me and paged me. You remember we had those little pagers, you can beep people. He would beep me and put that 143, for all you guys know, that don't know, means I love you. Before we had the ILY and the LOLs, we used numbers. And so it was just a joy to have him in my life. And although for about 5 years we were together off and on, the thing that I didn't expect to come, it came. When we got married, we were 19 years old, and I was 19, he was 20, and we had a son. And while we were in the middle of an argument, some things had transpired, and I was just going off and just popping off at the mouth. And he told me, he said, you know what? If you continue to keep talking like you're talking, I'm going to smack you. I started laughing like, yeah, right. You are not going to smack me. He had never hit me before, so why now? Now, this is nothing that I experienced when I was younger. I didn't see this kind of behavior, and I never heard my dad talk to my mother like that. But he told me he was going to slap the mess out of me if I didn't shut up. And I kept talking, and finally he got enough of it, and bam, right across my face, he slapped me. And I remember grabbing my face, and it hurt, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And tears are just flowing down my cheek. And I had my baby next to me, and I'm like embarrassed. He was only an infant, but still, just what had just happened? The man that I loved, the man that I cherished, the man that I was his wife, he had just hit me. And I couldn't understand why. Was it that bad? What did I do that bad for him to hit me? Well, as you can imagine, time went on and things happened, and he continued to put his hands on me, and things began to get worse. And he started talking about me and putting me down and just doing things that just was not okay. I was called dumb. I was called stupid, and people wouldn't listen to me. I didn't have a voice. I had lost everything in this marriage. Now, when I was younger, I was very lively and outgoing and always helping people. I always wanted to be somewhere. When things were open, Kama was there. When the church doors was open, I was there. I was at church probably more than most people because I loved to be around my church family. I loved what I did. I loved being around my pastor and his family and my church family. It was just what I did. So when I got married on April 10th of 1997, I was happy. And the next day, April 11th, 1997, him and I went to the movies, and I remember sitting in the car and tears began to flow. And he was like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, I'm scared. I don't want to be a part of this. I can't do it. I just can't do it. But I had already knew that was not the route I was supposed to go. I was warned. You know, there's always warning before destruction. So I was warned that some things were going to happen and you better be careful. But mind you, he had never put his hands on me prior to. So as time went on, we were married for about 9.5 years until I said enough was enough and I was getting out of this thing. But during this marriage, I decided to go back to school. I went and got my manicurist license because when I was growing up, there was two things I wanted to do. I went to the nail shop. I seen how they did my nails. I was 13 years old and I said, oh, I want to do that. That looks fun. It looks exciting. Can you imagine me being one of the top black manicurists? And that was just something I wanted to do. Even then, I knew I wanted to be great in whatever it is that I wanted to do. But I never wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, a police officer, you know, all those things that kids normally want to do when they grow up. I wanted to also be able to stay at home with my children. And I know it's like, well, how can you be a manicurist and stay at home? Well, when you're an entrepreneur, you can make things happen. So I wanted to be that stay-at-home mom and that wife, and I wanted to cook and clean. And I had all these great expectations of what marriage was going to be in my life. But it didn't turn out that way. I ended up getting my manicurist license and I went back to school. I was able to go and complete my AA degree and complete my business degree. I have a bachelor's of science degree in business management, and I was able to also go and get my real estate license. So all this is going on while I'm going through hell, but I'm still able to make it through. So after my marriage and after I divorced, we divorced in 2006. For a few years, I began to really go into a state of depression. The way I was dressing was just not nice. And I felt like I was so ugly. I would look at myself and say, Kama, what is wrong with you? How can you allow a man to put his hands on you and to mistreat you like this? You're better than that, aren't you? I would have to question myself and ask myself, am I better than that? But then I thought I couldn't be better than that because I allowed somebody to treat me the way that they did. So something had to be wrong here. I didn't think about what he was going through. I felt like there was something wrong with me. Maybe guys don't like me. Maybe there's something on my face that I just don't see that people see, and they just feel like I don't want to deal with that girl. So for a couple of years, I stayed down and I said, you know what? I got to do something. I want to be married again, and I want to be happy. And I remember my ex-husband, he would call me. He called me for the few years we were separated and divorced, and saying, I want to be with you and I love you and come on, I'll make it right and I'll be sure. And I said, no, you're not. But even within that, that's a whole story within itself. There were some things that transpired. I was controlled in my marriage. I had to be home at 10 o'clock at night. 27-year-old woman with children had to be at home at 10 o'clock at night or else. I went through so much, and I said, I'm not going to go back to that. So as much as I was hurting, I was trying so hard not to go back to that. And time went by, and I ended up just giving in and saying, you know what? Okay, all right. I'm going to put this thing together. My ex-husband, he was the only man I had been with and only man I had really loved. And it was the father of my children. So I'm going to make this work. He said he's not going to put his hands back on me again. And so I listened to that weak side of me, and I remarried him March 29, 2009. Well, March 31st, 2009, yes, 3 days later, he left. He left to go deal with a girl he was dealing with before him and I decided to get back together. He said she was hurting. He couldn't understand why. She couldn't understand why he did not want to be with her. He wanted his family. And I told him, if you stay in that relationship, don't come back to me, because I'm not into breaking up relationships. But he said that's not where he wanted to be. He wanted to be with his family. But again, that weak part of me believed him. But when he went back, I was devastated. I kept calling his phone. He wouldn't answer. I went to go pick him up from work. He was not there. And as I finally picked up the phone and called him one more time, he finally answered the phone. And he said, I'm sorry. I'm not going to make it home tonight. You know, I've been drinking and I'm just laying on her couch. Nothing went on. She's just hurt. And I was supposed to believe that. Now, I'm at home, your new wife of 3 days, 72 hours. With your kids, and I'm sitting here crying on my bed. Tears are just coming out like a waterfall, and my face is turning red as beet. And I'm trying to understand, how can a man do this to me? I love him. So I began to lose myself again. I allowed this to go on. Once a week, he would go stay with this girl and make up these excuses of him not being there for a few weeks. Finally, after about 5 weeks, he came home, stayed home strong for 2 weeks. And I was like, wow, okay, we're going to make this thing happen. He wasn't putting his hands on me. He wasn't mistreating me. So I thought. I didn't realize the emotional and the mental abuse that was going on. After the 2 weeks, he started leaving out for 2 days at a time now. Then 3 days. And I told someone, I said, you know what? Eventually, he's not going to come back. And sure enough, July of the same year, 4 months later, I received a text. Okay, not a phone call, a text saying, I want a separation. I don't want a divorce, but I just think we need to separate right now. And I need to get myself together. And I'll call you. At that time, I didn't know whether to be happy or to be sad, because if you want a separation, that means that maybe I can get my life back on track. But at the same time, I just got married. How embarrassing that I just got married. Now I have to tell people that I'm separating. So again, things just started falling apart for me. I was a realtor. Things were picking up before this happened, and everything just started falling down. And I again began to lose my way. And I'm like, what is going on? Why am I going through this? I couldn't understand it. So I filed for divorce 2010, that December of that same year. And the divorce ended up being final in 2011. And I remember driving down the street after my divorce and again, during my divorce, and tears again rolling down my cheeks. Again, I'm crying. I'm depressed. Lord, why am I here? I just don't understand. Like, what is my purpose? Why did I even go through this? Why did you allow me to go through this? Or why did I allow myself to go through this? What am I here for? And he said, you know what? I allowed you to go through this because you're going to be able to use your story to help other people. And I'm thinking, like, really? Use my story? Lord, you know I am not going to tell anybody what I've been through. It's embarrassing enough. How can I share this with people? How can I let my family know what I went through for the last 9.5 years? They knew something was wrong, but they didn't know the depths of what was going on. And I can't, because this is my kid's father. I don't want to embarrass my kids. I don't want to embarrass him. But I said, Lord, you know better than me, so I'll take that for what it is. Time continued to go past, and my cast members, I'm a director of a gospel play, something I didn't mention. And I did it through Demarco Plays. And my producer, writer, his name is Antoine Demarco, who stepped out and gave me a chance. I was going through some stuff. He didn't know what I was going through. My daughter auditioned and she got the part, and I went to the rehearsals. I would just do some read-ins. I said I'm not really an actress, even though I've taken, classes in school and things like that. But me being on TV, and that's not something I wanted to do, or even on the stage for that, I just didn't feel like I was good enough. So I went ahead and read in, and they didn't have anybody to actually fill the spots. So shows were coming up, and I said, okay, I'll go ahead and take the smallest part possible. And then he seen something in me and said, you know what? I want you to become my assistant. And I was flattered. And he ended up telling me later that people down talked me and talked bad about me. Because see, people knew my business, and I guess they see me as a stupid woman. So they talked really bad about me and told him, don't use her. Watch the company she keeps and be careful. She may not be the right person for you. But he said, no, there's something about her. So I became his assistant, and during this time, a few months later, the director, he decided to quit. Some things transpired. He decided to quit, and he said, you know what, Kama? I need you to direct my play. Again, me, director for what? I don't know what I'm doing. This is all new to me. And I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and take it on. Nobody else was able to do it, but he didn't give anybody else a chance. He gave it to me. Didn't understand why I never directed before, but I said, okay, I'll do it. So as I'm directing and we're having rehearsals, we had to switch rehearsals from where we were because the director said we couldn't work in his establishment anymore. So what I had to do was open my home, and the Lord has blessed me with a beautiful home. So I had enough room for people to come and rehearse. They were able to go into the back room, and they're singing and harmonizing, and they're just doing their thing, and I'm listening, and I'm like, wow, what talent. I can't sing. Lord, what's wrong with me? I don't have anything. And I went upstairs into my loft while people were praise dancing, and I watched them, and again, what talent. So I went downstairs and I sat on my couch in my family room and I began to cry. Tears began to come down my cheek, and I'm like, well, what am I here for? I don't have a talent. I'm not talented like them. I don't understand what is going on. Why can't I do anything? And as they began to finish up and they came in there, it was time for us to quit our rehearsing. And they came in there and I'm wiping my eyes, wiping the tears and trying to get myself together. And I get myself together, so I thought, and they're like, Kama, what's wrong? Because I wear my emotions on my face, on my sleeve. You know what they say, you wear it on your sleeve. People know when something is wrong. I try to hide it, but I can't. I said, you know what? You guys are so talented. I have no talent. I can't sing. I wish I can sing. I try. I can't praise dance. I used to be able to dance. I can't do it anymore. Like things, you guys are talented. You guys are young. They're about 12 years younger than me. And I want to be able to do something. And a friend of mine by the name of Christopher Peters, he said, Kama, you do have a talent. You can speak. I said, that's not a talent. He said, no, it is a talent because you're effective. People listen to you. I can't get up there and speak and do what you do. Now, mind you, he has a beautiful voice. He can sing. He has this great stage presence. I'm like, you get on the stage, but he said it's not the same. You're able to talk to people. You're able to reach out to people. And my cast members were agreeing and saying, yeah, Kama, you can do this, you can do that. And I'm like, okay, all right. But I still didn't understand it. But it did begin to sink in. And we had a play come up, and I invited some people from my office and in my real estate office. And one person came, didn't know he was there, by the name of Dwight Pledger. Dwight Pledger is a Les Brown Platinum, and he's allowed me to come to some of his platforms. He does some seminars, and I was able to go to understand how to write my story and how to be able to speak. And I was still a little nervous. But one thing about him is he's very strong in what he does. And I watch him, I'm like, wow, I love that stage presence, but I didn't think I had it. Now I have to open up for my shows, and I open up and I talk and explain some things to people, and we pray and we do different things, and then I get on stage and I act. But I never feel like I'm as effective when I'm up there on stage. So he came there and he watched the play, and we came to work. I was walking in. He was walking behind me. Just so happened we came in at the same time. He said, he walking. I wish you could see how he was walking. He walking. He's like, girl, you're walking in your purpose. And I said, what? I'm walking in my purpose. Now, mind you, again, I asked the Lord a week before that, before our show, I said, Lord, what is my purpose? I just could not understand it. Now, this is something that's just been going on because I felt like, why am I here? I just don't get it. I'm failing at life. Things aren't going how I want to. Why am I here? And when he told me that, I had to sit back and think, I'm walking in my purpose? Well, I don't want to be an actress. I don't want to direct a play for the rest of my life. What do you mean? And then the Lord brought it to me. Even as a director, I'm able to coach. I'm mentoring these young people in my play. I'm helping, encouraging them. I'm praying with them. I'm helping building their business. With the acting, the play that he's seen was called Dear Diary, He Beats Me Because He Loves Me, which is self-explanatory. And the character that I play is Isha, and her story is so similar to mine. Mind you, the play was written before I was a part of the play. I didn't even know the producer when he wrote this play. And it just talks about my life so much, not just with my story, but different stories that are in the play. And so I started thinking, wow, the Lord did say you're going to use your situation to help other people. So he had to allow me to go through this. Because remember, I couldn't understand. I've been hit, I've been slapped, I've been talked about, put down, I've been called stupid. I was told I wasn't going to make it as a realtor because I'm not old enough. I'm a young black woman and nobody wants to listen to me. So why would somebody want to listen to me now? But I got my confirmation what my purpose was. I began to understand why I became a director when that wasn't something I wanted to do. Why I became an actress, and that wasn't something I was looking forward to doing. I've been an extra on Moesha's show, not to speak, just to sit back in the background. I didn't know I would be on any kind of TV. But as I look back and I'm watching, like, okay, the Lord has been setting me up from birth, from day one. Like I said, as a young woman, a young girl, I always wanted to help people somehow, some way. I always wanted to be a part of things and help build people with whatever it is that they're doing. Even in my relationship and in my marriage, although I didn't see some of the things because I was so blinded by love, the Lord allowed me to go through some things. And although I didn't want to, it made me a stronger woman today. It helped me understand how people can go through what they went through and be able to get over obstacles. I didn't think I was able to get over these things. But when I look back and see the timeline and what I went through, it was all a setup. I tell people my life is a setup. I say that now. I'm constantly on social media. So I always tell people it's a setup. Even in my weakest time, the Lord is there to make me strong. So as I was weak, I told you, I got my manicurist license, my real estate license. I'm a notary public, I didn't mention. He was building me. He was preparing me for a time like this. And this is just my beginning. This is just the beginning for me. I'm just getting started. So what my goal is to help others such as yourself to understand what your purpose is. So hopefully while you are watching this and listening to my story, you begin to think about what is your purpose. Don't think whatever you're going through, whether it's health, whether it's a relationship, whether it's something that's going on in your workplace, that this is going to keep you down. But this is to make you stronger. I'm here to help build entrepreneurs. There's something that you have that we need. There have been many people out there that has passed away. Les Brown, on one of his CDs that I listened to, he said, there's a lot of buried talent. How many people are in a grave right now that were supposed to be a Steve Jobs or a Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey or Beyonce? How many people are in the grave right now that kept it to themselves because they felt like life situations were there that kept them down? It's time for us to say, I am here. It's time for us to pursue our passion, go after our goals and our dreams. And I'm here to help you with that. If you want to purchase a house, I'm here to help you purchase a house. I'm here to educate you on purchasing a house. I want to be able to come into your jobs and to your churches and to your places of business where I can educate you on that kind of information. I want to be able to help encourage and motivate and inspire you to go after whatever your passions are. That's what I do. My show, Pursuing Your Passion, that I created about 8 months ago, that's what I do. I bring on people to help show that despite the obstacles you go through, you can make it.